Hello and welcome to Transformation Now, which is a division of SoaringHigher.rocks. These programs are really about helping you to go forward with tools and techniques in personal and professional development, self-esteem, communication skills, image, just all kinds of career development programs to keep moving forward. So hi, I'm Rita Rocker Kraft, and as a speaker, author, and trainer, my heart has always been to help people to overcome, to rise, and to be able to have the kind of life that you really deserve. So in the first part of this program, we were talking about being able to go forward. It's called Hope at the End of Your Rope, Steps to Rebuild Your Life. And so that's what we're going to be talking about again today. And you're welcome to check that out. But I was talking at the last program about overcoming the demons that keep us captive. And those could be people, places, things, experiences that we've had that try to keep us captive from really soaring higher and creating a new life, writing a new chapter, whatever it is you need. And so one of those demons, I call them, that keeps us captive is a huge one, and it's called depression. I've been through depression more than once for things, and I think most people go through depressions, and then there's clinical depression. But that is one of the things that really, really tries to keep a lot of people down and kind of cloistered in their little cocoon instead of really rising and going out in life. And so that's one, a lot of times it's linked to anger and unforgiveness. And so many times when we are angry, the source of it is being hurt. If you think about it, think about times when you're really angry at someone, it's usually through hurt or disappointment, and that's what has caused us to be so angry. And so a lot of times think about that in the depression. One of the things I said before is this too shall pass. This situation shall pass. This person God can replace. This will pass. And so I want you to think about that with depression. And the more we focus on the situation of what happened to us, what somebody did to us, etc., the more depressed we get, the deeper down we get. I mean, I've been through so many traumatic things in my life, and I've had people say, well, why are you talking about all these positive things? And it's because God called me to get up, dust my knees off, and get back in the race. So every devastating thing that happened, or every surgery or illness or whatever, it's like, no, I'm not staying there. I'm getting back up. And we all can do that. You can do that too. It could be something as simple as, sometimes when people are depressed, they may not even get in the shower for 3 or 4 days. They're going to sit in a dark room and watch TV or something like that. No. A lot of times the best thing you can do is fix yourself up. Take a shower, fix your hair, put on something nice and colorful that actually makes you feel good instead of something that's baggy and gray and kind of, matches the, the feelings. Get out of the house. If nothing else, go window shopping, just to look at nice things, to kind of clear your mind and to see brightness, to see good, see people. And so sometimes it's as simple as that. You call a friend for coffee. Sometimes I do that. I have friends, we get together for coffee, and yes, you want a good friend who's understanding that you can talk over your situation with. However, the whole conversation isn't about being angry at what's going on and that's where it's left. It's going through it to get to the answer. So always make sure when you're getting together with people, because sometimes little groups of people, and I have to say women probably more than men, will get on something and focus on it and just stay angry. No, you work through this situation with someone who's positive. Sometimes for me, it's just upbeat, relaxing music. I like Christian music, but there's a lot of great music out there. Sometimes it's just, sit back with your eyes closed, have a cup of coffee or something, and just listen to relaxing music can help pull you out of a depression. You can go on YouTube and you find really, 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 really funny things on there, and funny entertainment, funny movies, and sometimes really just, okay, I'm gonna watch funny movies because laughter's good like a medicine. Go, if you can find them on TV, or go on YouTube and look for funny movies, comedians that are funny but in a healthy way. And sometimes that can help pull you out of a depression. It really can. Music, taking a walk while you're out think about good things, not think about all the drudgery, think about the good things, and pray. And so think about 3 things that you could do to break depression and help you refocus. I want you to think right now, what are things that you could do to break a depression time that you're having right now and to go forward? Could it be just you want to travel and you haven't been able to, so you get online and you start looking at all these beautiful places around the world, and so you kind of go on a mental vacation, a mental travel. Sometimes that'll help. Go dancing or watch dance lessons on YouTube and learn some new ones. It could be singing, sing to yourself, twirl around you could really do some crazy things. You like flowers, go get some flowers or walk into a floral shop and just enjoy them, if budget is a concern. Maybe it's calling someone that you miss, that you want to talk to, but there was some kind of a problem in between there. Call them and try to make amends with them, meet with them. A lot of times it's just broken relationships that are hurting and they've depressed us. Now, not everybody's going to come back, but you will build up friendships with people who will be there for you. But sometimes it's calling, asking forgiveness, or making amends with someone. That happened recently with someone who was very angry over a very small comment, and after 4 months she realized she should have let that go a long time ago. So build up relationships again. Harboring anger and unforgiveness is so important. And again, it can literally physically cause cancer and all kinds of diseases in the body by unforgiveness, because it's like a cancer that eats at us, literally, our emotions, our mind, until it's been discovered over and over that so many times the anger and unforgiveness literally will cause the body to have cancer, to have something happen to them. And so, like I've said several times, what God showed me is ask me to forgive that person through you. So when you can't, but you need to move on and not have this ugly, angry thing on your neck all the time, ask for him to do that. Forgiveness is the only remedy so many times for restoration in your life, in your family, and maybe even in a job, and somebody did something really dirty on a job. That happens a lot too. We have to go beyond that, whether it's toward, unforgiveness towards ourselves, for others, unforgiveness towards God. And those are things, show me, Lord, what I need to do, what do I need to forgive in order to move forward in my life. And once you do that, so many doors can open, new relationships, new career opportunities, but it's getting past that point first. So, think about, what do I need to forgive in order for me to go forward? God, show me what it is. And you'd be amazed sometimes at stuff that pops into your mind. It's like, oh my gosh, I didn't even realize that was holding me back, out of anger, out of fear, sorrow, whatever the case may be. And so think about that as far as moving forward. We actively choose, and I've talked about choices before, whether we will be angry or not. And I remember this one story years ago. It's a lady, she's 86 now, I think, 85, 86, Marilyn Hickey. And she and her husband had a church ministry in Denver, and she's been all over the world. She's over in the Middle East right now. And she said she asked God one time, do we choose whether we're angry or not? And so she had what we call a bad hair day, and she knew she didn't look very good that day. It was just one of those days, and want to put a sack over her head. But she went to church, and she said a friend of hers came up to her and says, oh, Marilyn, your hair's looking a little strange today. And it was a friend of hers, so she said, yeah, I know, and she just spaced it off. Well, then, as a lesson, next thing, a lady comes up to her that had kind of been a bee in her bonnet and was always trying to rub her the wrong way. And she said, Marilyn, your hair looks terrible. And she thought, well, how offended she was at that. And then all of a sudden it came to her. She said, I wondered, do we choose to be angry or not? I chose to be angry to the lady that was somebody I really didn't care for, but I chose not to be angry at my friend for basically telling me the same thing. And I thought about that. So then in situations after that, I started thinking, So be aware of that. And when you're in a situation, think, okay, somebody just said something that was really mean. It's my choice right now whether I choose to be angry about it or I just go, okay, whatever, forgive you, and go on. because you can choose to go on and to not let that bother you, rather just like you bounce off and just go away. Think about that. That is huge. That is huge. How many times we can choose to be angry, but it's like, nope, I'm not going there, so I'm not doing that. And you know, sometimes if we know somebody's going to be mean again, to say something mean again, start thinking ahead of time what kind of responses, positive responses, or ones where you're going to let them know, hey, all right, that's just your opinion. And it's amazing how if you prepare yourself ahead of time for a conversation with someone you know is going to be at you again, how you can just kind of push it away and ignore it and go on with your life and not let that affect you the way it could otherwise. I learned a lot because of things that have happened to me about triggers and projections. And what a trigger is say somebody did something to you in school, or a parent that was always, you know, very negative. You'll never amount to anything. Well, you can't even hold a baseball, you know, whatever the case may be. And so somebody has done anything. You have memories. We all have memories of things that have happened to us in our lives. And a lot of people have excellent memories about all the wonderful things that happened to them that they went through. I have very few memories of my growing up years at all, but people have these memories, and it's so, you know, they can be wonderful, they can be good, they can be hurtful, whatever the case they may be. And so then later on, or maybe it's a previous spouse and you were divorced or widowed and now you're with somebody new. And so this person or this situation happens, and maybe somebody says something and it's not even being mean, but it triggers something in you that happened to you before that was mean and was hurtful. And so what do? We get really angry at this person. And so it happens a lot in marriages and relationships where something happened and it triggered what happened way back when. And so now we're looking at this person who's right in front of us or this situation, and we're angry, like, what in the world? Why'd you do that? And it wasn't even meant to be that way at all. And so that's a trigger. And so we have to be aware of when something happens to us and we get all upset. Is this really a trigger from something that happened years ago? And if it is, we have to really work at not taking something out on somebody else or a situation that had, you know, could be at work, something that happened at work. Well, a previous boss said something and, you know, we take it wrong. And we do this. And then the projection part is, okay, like I have a couple sisters right now that are living together and they're not doing so well together, but they're older and they kind of need each other's help. And so the one is always projecting her own self-defeat, self-loathing, the things that she's going through onto the other sister. And well, it's her fault. And so a lot of times, oh, it's this person's fault and it's that person's fault and why'd they do this? But really, we're projecting our own misery. We project, it's really easy to do, project your own anger, your own expectations of what should be, but what isn't. And we project it onto a totally innocent person or situation. So, you know, sometimes it's just a really good idea to stop and think, oh boy, am I projecting my anger at myself, my unforgiveness at myself or whatever onto someone else, and be able to stop it as soon as you can, because it really impacts people's lives in a way that never should have happened, but it's from triggers and projections. So think about that. You can Google that and learn a lot, and it's been really, really helpful too. And so then we think of fear of the unknown. You know, a lot of times we'll stay in a situation because we're afraid of what's out there. This is familiar. Even if in an abusive relationship, for instance, well, this is familiar. If I go out there, I don't know what's out there. I don't know what's going to happen to me. So I'm staying in my familiar territory. No, we always need to grow and go forward. And so think about, am I staying in a particular situation or not looking ahead, trying to get the job that I really am capable of and I would love to do, but I'm afraid of the unknown because I don't know who I'm going to run into, talk to, what's going to happen. So many times we're stuck because of the fear of the unknown. And as long as you take God with you, it's never the unknown. He'll show you what you need to know, need to learn to go forward. So never fear the unknown because he's with you. And that's the only way we grow, the only way we get together. And a lot of times it's some pretty hairy things that can happen to us, but go forward. Don't be afraid of the unknown and staying something that's familiar just because it's familiar. No, keep going forward. And so thinking about even working with the triggers or the failure, there's so many scriptures that you can listen to. There's positive, motivational, inspirational messages and tapes. I listened to a couple the other day that will continue to feed your mind, your spirit with what's positive to encourage you to keep going forward in your life. Think I'm a son or daughter of the King. I'm worthy. A lot of times people really have this problem with, I'm not enough. I'm dumb, I'm unworthy. And no, you are more than enough. If you just tell yourself all day long, I am more than enough, that will start building up in your head until it's, hey, I am more than enough. I don't need this anymore because I am more than enough. So tell yourself the positive things that will build you up and go forward. And there's a scripture that says, forget what lies behind and reach forward to what lies ahead. So again, reach forward to that and not wallow in what the disappointments are any longer. And so I put here, give yourself the gift of healing. We deserve to be healed. We don't deserve to continue to be hurt and wounded. It does not deny the pain you endured. Sometimes people think, well, if I forgive this person, I can't do that. They hurt me too bad. They were too horrible. But what that does, it doesn't usually affect the other person a whole lot. But what it does is it affects you. And so we can't let the past control our future. And so we have to let go of that. Don't think that I can never forgive this person. You can forgive that person. You don't have to hang around them. You don't have to excuse what they did. You don't ever have to see them again. But forgiveness is something we have to do to move forward. Because, God made that really clear in His Word. We need to forgive and go forward. So think about that. And God can do it through you when you don't have the ability to do it yourself, because He's done that with me more than once. And then, when we talk about the chapter 5 about healing from loss, we've all had loss. I've lost, a husband and a father and a mother and a sister and just other people, through death, but also we can lose them through people moving away, people getting upset and they take off, and we've all lost friends probably that way too. But there's a scripture that says, just as God comforts us all in our troubles, we can comfort those in any trouble as we have been comforted. So think of it, look for people who are lonely, that are hurting in senior homes, youth crises places. These people are hurting. And so you can always do that as you heal from your loss. Go to someone else who's lost and give them a hug, give them encouraging words, and build yourself up. But that's so important, not to sit in our loss. But we have to create a new normal. And I remember learning a lot about that we're never going to have this person with us anymore, possibly. And so what do? We create a new normal. And so we start building up new, exciting things, family. Sure, we may miss them, but our life goes on. And so we move on with it and we create new things. And just know, like I said before, this too shall pass. We won't stay in that same situation. There's so many people, a lot of young people that are committing suicide because somebody they loved broke up with them, or they were bullied. Oh, the bullying is terrible. And so they commit suicide thinking, well, I'm not worth anything. And so I'm just going to go. Well, no, this too shall pass. You be strong. You read stories about people who were bullied, for instance, but they rose above it. And they became doctors. They became strong people who helped other people and started organizations. And so this too shall pass. I can't stress that enough, that you will not stay in that situation forever. And if somebody has left, they've broken your heart, you know what? You can ask God to give you somebody new, which I've done, that will be so much better and be the right one for you and to build you up and be alongside of you. So just want you to really remember that and be able to turn winter into spring. Spring's coming up shortly, and of course, everybody can't wait. But we can turn those circumstances into fulfilling our destiny, because our pain can be used to help other people. I help other people who are sick, who are hurting, who are going through surgeries, who have been, badly abused, who've been through a lot of poverty and different things. And that blesses my heart. It'll bless your heart when you take everything that's been so awful and turn it into something good. Widowhood, you can go out there and minister to people who have been widowed, get them out of the house, do all kinds of things with them and build them back up and show them the steps that you took to get to a new normal. So that's so important. Think about experiences that you can do to move forward. Again, joining a charity, going back to school or take some classes online, maybe becoming a foster parent or fostering dogs, for instance, which is wonderful. And you feel all that love that maybe you were missing before. And now you've got it, even if it's, hey, this cute little puppy's like going crazy when I get home. Showing me all that love. So think about things that you can do. You can do after school programs and help kids. I remember when I was speaking to a group of junior and senior high school students about their impression they make, their image, getting ready to go out into the world, you know, with a career. And I don't remember what I said, but I remember this girl came up to me afterwards and she said, "Thank you so much for giving us hope and helping teach us things that we can go forward to in the future," because I was thinking about committing suicide and I just about fell over and I thought, oh my gosh. And so many times you work with schools, you can help people who are really ready, you know, be a volunteer, who are ready to end their lives because they don't see any future. And you build them up, you show them the future that they can have. Women's groups, men group, book clubs, there's all kinds of things that you can do where you can use your experiences to go forward. Illness and grief. You know, as we allow God, He can help us take our confusion, our lack of self-esteem, our general outlook on life, and show us who we really are. Illness and grief. I mean, I've been through more than a lot of people have, and yet spend time in God's Word and to really build yourself back up again. You don't have to stay in that. You know, whether it's the lady I know with MS who's out there just being a powerhouse, ministering to other people. We take what we have and we move forward. Surround yourself with praying, positive people. That means getting away from destructive people. I learned several years ago that there's constructive and destructive grief. Constructive grief, we have to let ourselves grieve. We have to let ourselves go through the process, whether that means crying. I mean, I remember getting mad at God when my husband died and all of that. But there's constructive grief that we go through to heal our hearts and to move forward. And then there's destructive grief, which could be drugs, alcohol, running around doing destructive things. So we choose there. We completely choose. No, I'm not going to go this way anymore. I'm doing the constructive. I'm going to go through it and get to my destiny that God has planned for me. Give yourself time to heal. That's important. We can't just turn around, wake up the next day after something happens. I remember when my husband died and it was like, okay, you know, I kind of wish it was 6 months from now, knowing that I would be on my way to healing. And so know that it does take time and go forward. Renew yourself daily with music, scriptures, funny old movies, whatever you need to do. Set a time schedule to complete some of the things that you need to do in order to move on. It might be, you know, getting on career websites and thinking, okay, this is the time now. I'm going to move to the city that I wanted to, and I'm going to start looking for a new career in a new place and start over. So you can do that, and that's very important. When you hurt, give the gift of love to someone else. That is always so very, very important to do that. Excuse me. And just, again, as I wrap up, think about the choices that you're making. Are you creating a better plan for your life? New friends, new people, new relationships, new classes, pure motives. What are my motives? Think about my motives. What are my motives? Is it to go forward? Is it keep somebody else down? What are the motives? You know, He may be working behind the scenes too. And I mean, God may be working behind the scenes, because sometimes it's like, oh, I can't stand this. I've waited so long for a new partner or a job or whatever. You know, in the case of a partner, maybe you're ready. You've gone through everything that you need to do to be ready. But maybe the other person that God has for you isn't quite ready yet. And so you want to hold on to that patience of being ready so that when He does bring you together with the right person, it's because you waited till the other person was ready. Same thing with a job. You know, I've heard over and over again, somebody lost a job, they were brokenhearted, and what am I going to do now? And yet, and maybe they were off for a few months before they found the job. Well, that was because the job that was meant for them, the really good job that was meant for them, somebody else was still in that position. For instance, that's happened. And then this person left, now they could be joined together. So often it's a matter of timing, that a lot of times God's working behind the scenes on something. We don't see it, so we get frustrated and irritated. Why isn't anything happening? But then when the time is right and you come together, then it's like, oh wow, this is awesome, and it's better than what you had thought. So last one here, just for a minute, loneliness. Bible says God will never leave us or forsake us, and he's always there no matter what, even when we feel like we've been forsaken. You know, I've literally asked God more than once, please, could I feel you? Please put your arms around me so I can literally feel it, because I'm hurting so badly right now, and he will do that. If you sit quietly and ask him to do that, he will do that. And then just the guilt, let go of the guilt and let God show you things through his eyes. And you know, we always feel guilty if we lose someone, like, oh gee, I should have done this, I should have done that. No, you've got to let go of the guilt and the loneliness and just let God hold you, hug you, and give you a new direction, a new start in life. So thank you so much. We'll be talking again. We're going to be talking about renewed embracing new experiences, which is awesome. And then later on, I'm going to go into like some communication skills and business etiquette again. That will be fun as well as very educational. So thank you so much. See you soon. Bye.